All right, gang, so it is time to test out this 200 amp hour solar station thingamajigger that I made. And to do that with solar, we're going to be testing out also this 200 watt 9BB solar panel from BougeRV. So let's get this thing opened up and see what we're gonna be working with. See if we can just slide this thing out without breaking it. That's literally all that's in the box, which is all you need. And you also got, of course, your user manual. And sorry about the lighting, folks. I can't open up my garage door right now because the sun is right there. Okay, so again, folks, this is the 200 watt 9BB solar panel from BougeRV. It's a fairly big unit, but however, they're claiming it's smaller than standard 200 watt sized solar panels. So from edge to edge, we are at 27 3/4 of an inch. And I guess top to bottom, we are at 54 3/4 of an inch. And we are at 1 1/4 inches thick on that frame. Here's a better look of it. Let me turn it around for you. You've got your two MC4 connectors. Let me go ahead and read you off the specs on this thing. Maximum power, 200 watts. Max power voltage is 17.98. Max power current is 11.12. Open circuit voltage is 21.6. Short circuit current is 12.09. Max system voltage is 1000 volts DC. This is Class A, and the operating temps of this are claiming -40 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, this is the BougeRV model type PBJ 200W-B064. This frame, of course, already comes pre-drilled with all of the necessary mounting holes that you would need. However, the caveat to this test, guys, and I know it's gonna affect it, is I'm not gonna install this on my roof. Where I live, I get sucked into a amazing HOA, or homeowners association, and we're not allowed to put solar panels on our roof visible from the street unless we go to HOA court and it gets approved by HOA board. So I'm not gonna go through all that trouble just to put this one little 200 watt panel on my roof. And the test of this thing is gonna be, again, to use that Lossigy 200 amp hour battery solar cart power station thing that I built and run my chest freezer using this as supplemental power and see how long it'll run. So cool, but overall, it's a good looking solar panel. Hook two of these up for 400 watts, and I think you'd have a good little starter system, or even this one. We'll see how it works. Okay, folks, so I do want to show you, this is set, well, you can't see it, but it's set for 0 degrees, and I filled it up as much as I could with stuff. It's amazing that we actually didn't have more stuff to put in there. At least it's not empty as it was in the first initial testing of this unit. So we've got more stuff in the cooler, which should help it stay colder and not run that compressor as hard, helping to prolong that battery life. So that's in theory. Hopefully there's enough in there. So to start this test off, I just want to show it is 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, August the 13th. So we'll probably get this test started around 8:40 once I get everything set up. First thing I'm going to do is get the wiring for the solar panels stretched across to where I'm going to have to put the solar panel. So this test, I know it's not going to be perfect. I'm just going to have to kind of lay the solar panel against my garage door. This garage door faces directly east. So I'm only going to get at best up until noon, maybe 12:30 or 1 o'clock sun. And then that sun's going to go over the top of my house, and this is going to be in the shade. So the solar panel is only going to get morning sun, but this is as best as I can do with the situation that I'm in, because I can't put the solar panel on my roof. I'm just going to hook up the black and red, positive and negative solar cables with the MC4. This is basically just an extension cable for solar panels. So I'm going to get these hooked up and ran over. Snaps into place. So you can see, I'm just gonna lay it against this garage door, and I've got due east sun. And that's all I'm gonna get for this test. Okay, so maybe a better view now that this is out in the sun. The solar panel, just, you know, it comes with the connections that you need, and you just plug in those extension cables to the back of this guy, and that's all you do. So we're gonna make sure you connect the positive to the positive, obviously, and the negative to the negative. And I'm just gonna lean this up against the old garage and let the sun cook it from there. So let's move over to the power station and go ahead and turn that breaker on and see if we start to get charging. And I'm gonna pull up the MPPT charge controller, and I can see that that PV light just came on. So that means that it is recognizing the solar panel. See what's going on with it. The Charge Pro and connect it. And you can see right down here underneath the battery, right now that solar panel at 8:30 a.m. sun is pulling in 8.08 amps at 13.8 volts and 111 watts. That's not too terrible for 8 o'clock sun. I'll take that. So that's good. I've got no errors. And this thing will actually, but it's got a graph that shows everything. The max charge, amount of time that the solar panels were running, the lowest and highest voltage. Quite a few good things on it, but I'm gonna go back to the real-time monitoring. And we're still pulling 100, well, now we're down to, cloud just went past, and you can see it drop down drastically. So we're back up to 111-ish watts. So this will be able to show you folks, and hopefully me, the highest amount of watts that that solar panel is able to produce, along with the lowest amount of watts that the solar panel produced. But you can see my battery state of charge is 100%. 13.6 volts per my battery meter on my Velocity. So now the next step is to actually connect the chest freezer to this battery unit, and we're just gonna keep it running. And we're gonna plug this cooler directly in to my little watt meter type thing that is connected directly to my inverter. There we go. Turn on the inverter. Chest freezer is on, and it is a swampy 95 degrees in the garage right now with this Texas humidity. Everything's running fine. My volts actually jumped up a little bit to 13.75. Inverter's running fine, and that's showing 13.7 volts, output 120 volts. Battery meter's full. Let's see what the watt meter is showing I'm pulling. And I'm gonna reset the time on this thing. This watt meter will calculate and keep track of how long it's ran. So I can come back and check this hopefully in a week, and it'll tell me how many hours it ran. And it's not pulling any watts right now because my compressor hasn't kicked on, but this will also track the highest watts. So I'll be able to go back and check that as well. Again, 8:30 in the morning, August 13th, full battery, full 200 amp hour battery, 200 watts worth of solar panel, and let's see how long we can keep this little freezer happy. Cool guys, I'll check back in here periodically throughout the next couple of days to give you folks an update. Check back in a little bit. So this is gonna be where it becomes difficult for me to really test out these solar panels, because as you can see here, I have no sun anymore, and it is 2:24 in the afternoon. So that sun is above my house now, and I'm basically not gonna have any type of solar with this setup after around 1:30, 1:45 p.m. Let's hope it gets enough, but let me check out the app. Okay. So we're connected, and it's showing me that I basically charged 171 watt hours. The one thing that I don't understand, and I might need your folks' help, is down here, down below, it says the discharge amount, 0 watt hours. Well, I know that's not true because that battery has been used to run that chest freezer. So that's where I'm just a little bit confused, because I'm not a pro at this. So if you guys understand why that's showing 0 watt hours for my discharge amount, that's something that I'm really gonna have to figure out. But I'm actually pulling a whopping 2 watts off of that panel. That green PV light's still on, the battery light's on, but my charge controller, I got an arrow going down, meaning that it's using more juice than is being input. And right now this compressor is pulling between 68 and 70 watts, 74 watts. It's kind of fluctuating, but let's say average 70 watts. So I'm not getting anywhere the amount of solar that I need to compensate for the compressor starting at around 2 p.m. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get enough sun to charge it up between 7, 8 a.m. and 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock p.m. I don't know. It's going to be a fun test to see how long I can get this thing to run, because you can see here, look, so where that shade line hits now. So I'm definitely not going to get any more sun, at least where the solar panel is right now. Now, if I had that thing on the roof, obviously it would be a different story, but I can't put it on the roof. But I don't know, this is just a fun little test, so I'm going to see how long, again, I can get this 200 amp hour battery to run, and keeping that 200 watt panel where it is. I'm going to pull it in tonight because I don't want it to grow legs and walk away. I'll wake up and put it out before the sun hits it for the next few days, at least as long as I can keep this thing running. But I'll check back in periodically and give you guys an update on where we stand, and hopefully this thing will run 4 or 5 days. So see you soon. Well, good morning, everyone. It is day 2 of this test, and my voice is slowly starting to escape me, so I apologize. Let me show you where we stand at in terms of solar. So it is, again, 7:30 in the morning, and I just put out the solar panel. I was a little late to the project this morning, but it's just now getting out. You can see the sun is just coming over the houses over here. So I've got this much sun right now. And my battery, after running for 24 hours, has gotten down to 70%. I am charging. I'm charging 60 watts worth of solar, at 63 watts worth of solar right now. And that should just increase as it gets a little bit above the horizon and gets a little bit more energy put on that solar panel. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to put in more watts than I'm using up until around 12 or 1 o'clock today. But that's going to be part of the test to see how much I can actually make this work. So guys, I'll check back in when that sun starts to go down around 12 or 1 o'clock today and kind of give another update and see where we stand from there. So stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, folks. It is 2:27 on Sunday, the 14th of August, and we're doing good. And I've got to be the first to admit that I just made a dumb mistake yesterday when I was talking about how I was going to run out of shade, and that I was going to, you know, my solar panel would be useless after 12:30. It's not connected to anything. I don't know what I was thinking, so it just moved it to where it's in the sun now. I don't know what I was thinking yesterday. So obviously, if I would have kept it against the garage door like I had it yesterday, it would be in the shade. So my brilliant mind just decided, hey, let's move it because it weighs 20 pounds and it's not connected to anything. So I just have it laying flat on the driveway, and it's doing great. And this morning, I think I showed you guys my battery meter gauge was around 71%, I believe. And today, right now, I'm back up to 85%. So that's fantastic. I was really getting worried about this. The most that I've pulled off of this panel today so far has been around 150 watts when it was just absolutely perfect. I got quite a few clouds today, but still, I'll take getting the battery up to 85% by 2 o'clock. Great. So I'm going to be able to kind of move the solar panel and follow the sun most of the day until it gets further past my house, but that's good news. I just completely went brain dead yesterday when I was thinking I couldn't move the panel, but oh well. So there's check-in for today. I'm at 85%. It's 2 o'clock. Chest freezer's still going strong, and we're looking good. Everything's running well, running as it should be, so sweet. I'll check in tomorrow. Well, gang, good morning. It is 7:50 a.m. on day 3 of this little test. And this morning, I came out to look, and my battery is now at 62.3%. We are charging now. I've got the solar panel out behind me. It is getting full morning sun. Again, it's just 8 a.m. The sun's just coming over the horizon over these houses, due east. So I know that I'm never going to put enough watts into the system to compensate for the chest freezer when I don't have the solar connected. So I'm always going to be slowly going down, and I'm not going to be filling that battery up. But this test is going to show me about how long I think that I can make that happen, or make this chest freezer run just off of this one 200 watt solar panel. That's where we stand as of this morning. So I'll check back in this afternoon and see how many watts I was able to put back into this battery from keeping the solar panel out all afternoon. Now again, I'm going to kind of chase the sun down my driveway as far as I can with the length of the solar cables that I have, and then we'll put it back up around 5 or 6 p.m. tonight when I can't get any more sun on those panels. We'll check back in here in just a little bit, folks. Thanks. Well, folks, it is about 4:30, and I had to put the solar panel up for the evening, so I'm cutting it about an hour, 2 hours short. We're about to leave, so I don't want to leave it outside. So I'm going to end the battery today at its highest charge of 76% full. Day 3. Yesterday, I ended solar at around 85%, I think, so I lost about 9% compared to yesterday. Do the math and you can figure out when this thing's going to be fully depleted, but I'm going to run this thing a couple more days to try to get a good overall estimate of how long I think this thing would run, because I don't want to do this for 2 weeks straight. Actually, next check-in will be in the morning when I put this thing back out, and we're going to see where the battery's at in the morning. So, see you then. Well, good morning again. Well, hello. Well, good morning to you. Well, good morning, folks. It is 7:57 on day 4, August the 16th. Just put out the solar panel, getting that fresh morning sun, and the battery is at 51.2%. So we're slowly, going down, putting in as much solar power as the battery is using overnight, which I knew would happen, but still just a fun test to see how long this exact setup I think would last. And so far we're on day 4. And if I get good solar today, if I chase that sun down my driveway when it gets around noon and I put that solar panel out, I can get sun until about 4 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. So I'm hoping to put about 15 extra % in this battery throughout the day and see how far that gets us until tomorrow. So I'll check back in later this afternoon and show you guys how much I put back into the battery. So I know this is getting redundant, but it's still a pretty fun test. So we'll see you this afternoon. All right, well, this is the end of my solar day. So no more solar for today, and we are at 59.5% battery capacity. I'm gonna call this done at 60% battery capacity, so we'll check back in the morning and see how much that chest freezer sucked out of the battery. So again, I'm slowly starting to not be able to keep up, which was expected. We'll see how we do it. Well, folks, it is, I think, day 5, 9 a.m., August the 17th. We got the solar panel out, or our battery percentage is at 36.2%. So we're cutting it close. I think this might be the last day. I'm not sure, depending on how much juice I can get into that panel today. But I think 5 or 6 days running this, that's not bad. But at the end, I'll talk about what I know I could have done better. Anyways, I'll come back and check this afternoon to show you folks how much juice I was able to get put back into this battery from that 200 watt panel. And we might be able to make it one more night. We'll see. Okay, folks, so I just put in the solar panel for the night. It's around 5 p.m. You can see here, everything's kind of put up now because we are expecting 90% chance of rain tonight and all day tomorrow, hopefully. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna call this test complete, but before I go into my other shop and I give you guys a final rundown, I wanna run a few numbers. But let me show you where the battery's at. So we're at 47.5% battery capacity. So in 6 days of running this thing, I've essentially depleted my battery to 50%. It's as best as I'm gonna get because I'm not gonna put this solar panel out anymore. So I'm gonna go run a few numbers and kind of figure out what I think how long I could have ran this thing for if I would have had perfect weather and I could put it out tomorrow and the next day and the next day after that. So I will check back in just a little bit after I kind of figure that out. Well, good morning. This is the final morning I'm going to be checking in. It is day 6, I believe. This is Thursday, August the 18th. And the battery this morning is at 21.5%. So I'm going to call this test kind of done. So let's go back into my shop and I'll kind of do a final rundown on this whole little test thing. All right, folks, well, I hope that you found that little experiment useful, knowledgeable, entertaining. I don't know, it took 6 days and it was very redundant. Checked it in the morning, checked it in the afternoon, and gave you the battery percentages that I was currently at when I was looking at it. So I don't know if that helped at all, but I ran a few numbers. Again, I started this test on Saturday, last Saturday, and the battery was at 98% full. I ended it this morning, Thursday, and the battery was at 22%. So roughly 6 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I ended at 22%. So I knew that I would never be able to put enough solar input into that battery that the chest freezer was using through the night. So it was a very slow drawdown on the battery. I think that I could probably have squeezed out a total of 7 days running that chest freezer with the 200 watt BougeRV solar panel. Looking at my watt meter that I had the chest freezer plugged into the inverter, I got 59.4 hours of runtime that compressor was going. So out of 120 or so hours of my total testing, 60 hours of that the compressor was running. And that equates to 4.4 kilowatts. So 4,400 watts of juice throughout this test that compressor or that battery had to use to keep that chest freezer running. The highest solar input that I got throughout 6 days was 147 watts off of that BougeRV solar panel. Now, again, solar panel testing is very subjective. Where you live in the world, your current conditions, haziness, clouds, temperature, it all takes into account your solar input. Yes, I could have gotten longer solar cables. I could have chased the sun all the way down my driveway until about 8 p.m. at night, but I didn't do that. So technically, I could have ran this longer, but I wanted to keep it simple and easy in a real world scenario. If I had to use that setup to keep my chest freezer going, how long could I do it for? Easily. And I'm thinking easily 6 to 7 days running off of that 200 watt panel. So just to recap, I was able to put anywhere on average between 13 to 16% capacity back into the battery during my solar charging. That leads me to believe if I ended today, when I cut this test short, I ended the day at 22%. I'm thinking that per my averages, I could have put probably 13 to 15% more back into the battery while I was charging on solar to give me approximately about 35% capacity on that battery tonight when I would have pulled the solar panel back in. And I know that I could have ran that chest freezer overnight until the next morning off of 35% battery capacity. So that's where I'm coming up with. I could probably have run that chest freezer for 7 days. It would be really great if I could get another 200 watt solar panel and time together and see what we could do off of 400 watts, but I don't have a second 200 watt solar panel. Maybe soon. That's my little experiment, my test on how long that 200 watt panel would run a chest freezer in normal average Joe conditions. Okay, so I hope that was useful and we will see you soon, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching.